as I look at it, we have $9,120 left for our matching funds. And that was whittled down from about $26,000 as where we started with a total of matching funds this week. So fantastic job. Thank you so much. This is how we stay on the air. You guys are awesome. Continue listening, continue donating. The total for the end of yesterday is $47,260. So we are on our way, but we still got a long way to go to get there. We've got today and tomorrow yet. So stay tuned. Keep it going. Keep with us. I want to remind you guys of a couple of different things. Excuse me there. One is we have that Never Forget plan. So the Never Forget plan is where you sign up for a monthly withdrawal from your debit or credit card, and then you will receive a $10 gift certificate from Messenger Traditional Catholic Books and Gifts here in Hayes. They are also online at traditionalcatholicstore.com. That's traditionalcatholicstore.com. Those who give this Care-a-thon, if you give at least $250, you will receive one of those car shade sun visors. It's those nice ones that pop open and you can fold up real small. I've got one in my truck. And it's got a great Divine Mercy Radio logo on it. It was done really well. You'll also be entered into a drawing for one of the following prizes: a Bose Smart speaker donated by Dave and Janet Schmidt. They are the owners of Dave's Auto Repair. A 1987 Eagle Silver Proof Eagle coin donated by Dustin Roths, who is the owner of Diamond R Jewelry. A handmade ladder rosary donated by Dora Liker. A barbecue gift set donated by Kelly Kinky, the owner of Horizon Appliance and Electronics. A gift set including a hand-woven bracelet, hand-carved limestone cross, and wax reveal candle donated by Kathy Shupman, owner of Cat's Hallmark. Also, a $100 gift certificate to Hickok Steakhouse donated by Oscar Runyon, Greg Whitehair, and Damon Hoare. They are the owners. And a men's and women's Divine Mercy radio shirt. You get to choose which size you want and which logo you want. And there's one for a man, one for a woman. If you give $500 or more, you get entered into the drawing for everything that we just read. And you receive a 60-second spot celebrating a loved one's birthday, an anniversary, baptism, an anniversary of a death, a wedding, a graduation, or basically anything else you can think of. You let us know. We will help you celebrate it. If you give $1,000 or more, you'll receive everything that I mentioned, plus a Divine Mercy Radio baseball cap and 2 tickets to our annual banquet, which is always fantastic. It will be held Saturday, September 7th here in Hayes and Sunday, September 8th in Colby. And that guest speaker will be Catholic Answers apologist Joe Heschmeyer. Wonderful man. He actually lives in the Kansas City area. We got to interview him not too long ago. Check it out, and you'll be able to see on our YouTube page, if we've got that video up there, of just what he is like. Great man. Ways that you can listen today. However you're listening now, we want you to be able to take us with you wherever you go, in your car, out on a run, digging in the garden, wherever you're at. You can listen online at dvmercy.com. You can listen on all these radio stations that we're on. You can listen on your smartphone by going to find the Divine Mercy Radio app in your Play Store or App Store, or you can also listen on your Amazon Alexa by saying, Alexa, enable the Divine Mercy Radio skill. You then have to say which station it is for. So you might say, Alexa, enable the Divine Mercy Radio skill for the Lindsborg Salina station or for the Hayes station. After that, you then should just have to say, Alexa, play Divine Mercy Radio in Hayes or wherever you're at. Finally, if you are watching on Rumble, Facebook, YouTube, I think we are already live. You can go there and find us live. And being that I was just talking about finding us live, you can actually go into the chat on those live sessions and type a question in there. We got some yesterday. It was fantastic. I loved it. If you have questions for people like Jacob Schroeder, who's going to be on here in just a minute, you can go on there, type in a question. We'll get it in here. You can also call us on air at 785-621-5061 or text us at the donation line 785-621-4110. We'll get those questions and hopefully we'll get them to you while they are still in the studio. We'll do it just as quickly as possible. So once again, this is Cody Morencer, your host. We are on the Divine Mercy Radio Spring Care-a-thon. Come follow me. And our total goal is $125,000. Help us to get there by the end of tomorrow. 785-621-4110. All right. I'm going to introduce Jacob Schroeder here, and then we're going to get to our first question. So Jacob graduated from Fort Hays State University, where he studied business management, has helped lead Totus Tuus and Prayer in Action for the Diocese of Salina. He taught CCD for both St. Joseph's and Victoria. He is currently the Young Adult Ministry Coordinator and has already organized several successful young adult nights for the Diocese of Salina. Welcome in, Jacob.
Hey, thanks for having me, Cody.
Absolutely. Man, you've done a lot in your young age.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot better than I was at your age. So congratulations, young man.
Thank you.
All right, let's get to, we'll get right back to Jacob. But first, we're going to get what everybody is waiting to hear, that trivia question. When I read these trivia questions, call in as soon as you can to 785-621-4110, and we will get you entered into a drawing for a $50 gift certificate to Messenger Traditional Catholic Books and Gifts here in Hays. Jerome and Angela Schmeidler are the owners there. So here is your first trivia question, 785-621-4110. How many sets of mysteries of the Rosary are there? A1, B20, C10, D4. How many sets of mysteries of the Rosary are there? A1, B20, C10, D4. Call in, give us your guess, 785-621-4110. All right. Talking with Jacob Schroeder this morning about leading young adults to Christ. So, Jacob, in your new ministry role that you have here, which is pretty new. What are some things that helped you to start understanding and looking out there and going, this is something that our diocese would really benefit from, and we really kind of need to do this?
So one of the big things for me was, and we'll get into this in a little bit, but really just looking around Hays, after college, there's not a lot of young adults that stick around, and there's not a lot who stay very involved with their faith. It seemed like going to mass in the mornings, I'd look around and I'd be the youngest one there. And so recognizing that and noticing that there's kind of that need for adults, young adults, to kind of have an opportunity to meet and be with each other and kind of lead others in the faith was kind of one of the biggest factors, I think.
Yeah. So you're telling me that young people actually go to mass?
Yeah. There's young people that go to mass.
that's a novel idea.
Yeah.
Wow. Fantastic. No, I think what you guys are doing, that's absolutely amazing, because down at the campus center, I know you were a big part of that, wearing a Catholic Disciples shirt. And those on the radio can't see, but probably those live can see it. But heavily involved in that, and you guys got a great thing going on down there. So that's absolutely wonderful. How did this role really come about being created? Because this is a new thing, right?
Yeah. It's a fairly new thing. I think it's been tried out before, but just hasn't been as successful, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's actually a really cool story. So I was, like I mentioned before, looking to try and start something in Hays, and was praying about this a lot, kind of asking God to give me an opportunity to see and take here in Hays, invite some people to mass and go from there, and then one day somebody said, "Hey, Bill's looking for you." And I kind of just brushed it off, and I was like, okay, but he can reach out to me if he needs me. And then a couple of weeks after that, I was actually going to the Adoration Chapel at IHM, and for some reason I went through the front doors of the church instead of the Adoration Chapel doors. And Bill was standing right there, and he was like, "Hey, I've been needing to talk to you." And he asked me, he was like, so what are you doing now? And I told him what I'm doing and everything. And he's asked me if I had any plans for kind of doing stuff with the faith. And I said, yeah, I'm trying to start a young adult thing here in Hayes. And then he said, why not go diocese wide? Like, why not take it throughout the diocese? And that kind of blew me away. That wasn't like what I was expecting to do, but that's kind of how the formation of the whole thing came about. I think Bishop really wanted it as well, because he noticed that like young adults aren't interacting as much as they used to, or getting out of, I guess, out of their houses even just, and going to events that were planned for them, I guess.
Yeah, when you hear that Bill is looking for you, I've learned he's a conduit of God saying, "Hey, why don't you do this?"
Yeah.
So yeah, if Bill Mayer is looking for you, that, oh man, Lord might be calling me to something here. But yeah, that's a pretty big shock of like, yeah, I was thinking something local, but
yeah.
Hey, let's see where this goes. Wow, fantastic. All right, I'm going to break in here really quick. We did get a winner, which is awesome. We got those phones ringing right away. Dawn Davian is our trivia winner. The question there was, how many sets of mysteries of the rosary are there? Not how many mysteries, but how many sets. So there are 4 sets of the mysteries of the rosary, the 3 originals and the one that St. John Paul II added. So congratulations to Dawn. We will get you entered in that drawing for that $50 gift certificate to Messenger Traditional Catholic Books and Gifts, and we will draw that today at 6 o'clock. Reminder that you are listening to the Spring Care-a-thon. Come follow me. 785-621-4110 for your pledges. Let's get those phones ringing. Let's get it started this morning. I know that everybody's busy, probably driving kids to school and all kinds of things. But while you're doing that, make sure to prayerfully call in, ask the Lord, hey, how can I partner with these people? What can I do to help them out? Number 1, those prayers. Number 2, if you can, and the Lord's asking you to, 785-621-4110. Call in, give us your pledges. We appreciate it, and we want to show all these people that we bring in here that we appreciate them too. Talking with Jacob Schroeder about leading young adults to Christ. He has started a new ministry within the Diocese of Salina, and so we're going to get right back to talking to him about that. So, Jacob, you had an idea. You get the Holy Spirit going, Bill's looking for you.
Yeah.
You run into Bill on accident. He says, why are you thinking so small? Let's go big. Go big or go home, huh? All right. And so how did it kind of mushroom from there?
Yeah. So really, we did kind of from there, it just, we kind of went right into it, started planning events. We needed a little bit of money to start out with. And so if I remember right, we asked for Giving Tuesday funds, and there were some generous people who donated funds for that. And then we started out with the first event in January right after that. And he contacted me in about October, I believe, of last year. And then it just kind of went from there.
Okay, so I want to hold pause there, and we'll come back to that, because you talked a bit about how you got there, but what else helped you to like kind of propel you into this role of I think I'm ready to do this.
Yeah. So couple of things that you mentioned I led was Totus Tuus and Prayer in Action, and that's just like you're interacting with younger people for the most part, high school and way down into grade school even, and so interacting with them, getting to know them, kind of getting to see what stirs their hearts and stuff like that, really helped me to see like there was a need for this. But then also I was able to be the president of the Catholic Disciples there on campus for a semester, and the big role of that is fundraising, 1, and then 2 is you have to set up an event every week throughout
Oh, wow.
the whole school year. And so, yeah, I would call like big speakers like Dr. Swafford or Catholic Answers, get some of those guys to come in, stuff like that. My last event was Paul J. Kim. He came in and spoke. Yeah, it was really good. But doing that really helped me like recognize that I kind of enjoy planning these events, and then I also enjoy the fundraising side of it a little bit, just going out and like, hey, we need some help.
Yeah, so there were a couple of times. So you guys brought in Joe Heschmeyer, and who else was it? Oh, Tim Staples. And so actually we found out about it by accident. You know, I think Nathan was talking to one of their I don't want to call them handlers, but you know, the people that helps take care of their schedule and stuff like that. And they were like, "Oh, actually, Tim's going to be there tomorrow." And we're like, "Wait, what?" Like, so that's one of the things is you brought in some really big names. I mean, people maybe don't know these names. I'm a Catholic nerd, so I listen to Catholic Answers like all the time, you know, and I watched all kinds of Catholic Answers stuff. So I'm seeing these guys and I'm like, what the heck? These are the mainliner Catholic Answers people. How did you get them in here? Because we were able, thank you first, because we were able to benefit from that. Because as I said, Nathan was talking to their people, and they were like, "Oh yeah, they could probably come in for an interview." We're like, "Yes, please." You know, and so that was a blessing to be able to piggyback off of you guys. But what did that look like to bring those big speakers in?
Yeah. So the campus center actually gets they get a little bit of money from the college actually for being a university organization.
No way.
Yeah.
So we're using, this is fantastic. I did not know that you get to use university funds to further the Catholic faith.
Yep.
You were awesome, sir.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Well, yeah. And the cool thing about being on the inside of that was like, I was able to recognize you go through a process called allocations, and it's where all the university organizations, I think there's like 82 of them. They kind of like, you all kind of argue why you deserve the money that you're getting. And so the Catholic Disciples has been one of the biggest groups on campus.
That is fantastic.
4 years in a row now. And so we have some pretty big, what do I want to say?
Some pull.
Yeah, pretty big pull going behind us. And so we've been able to get kind of the most money out of all the groups there on campus the past few years, and that goes towards like paying for speakers, you know, getting them traveled here, and then hosting events on campus and just really expanding the name through that.
Wow.
That means.
What are also some other things that, you know, you said you had to host an event every single Wednesday, correct? What are some other things that you would host when you were president of Catholic Disciples?
Yeah. So we would do, I wouldn't necessarily host it, but like adoration, that we'd do an ABC night, and that would happen when I was there. It was twice a semester. I think it was kind of a bigger deal. And ABC night is just adoration, benediction, confession. We'd bring in some of the musically talented people who come into the campus center, and they'd play music for us and stuff like that. And so it was a really, really cool night. You'd shut off all the lights in the chapel and light them up with some like colored LEDs and stuff. And it always looked really cool. And then once a month, we also did candlelight mass, which for some reason, even bringing in all these major speakers, candlelight mass always seemed to be the biggest event. And that was really cool as well.
Jesus draws the biggest crowds.
Yeah, definitely.
Way to go, Lord. Big old fist bump there. That's fantastic. Wow. So that obviously can help us see then how you were able to kind of transition then from that role to this role, because you're already basically doing it.
Yeah.
You know, that's fantastic. You guys are listening to Divine Mercy Radio's Spring Care-a-thon. Come follow me. We are talking with Jacob Schroeder about leading young adults to Christ. We're going to get right back to that. But first, I want to remind everybody that we've got that Care-a-thon goal of $125,000. We want to make it there by the end of tomorrow. We started out this morning with $40-some thousand. I don't have my paper in front of me right now. I apologize. I'll find that. But we still do have over $9,000 of those matching funds. So if you call in and give, even if it's just $1, $5, $10, whatever it is, that immediately gets doubled. Let's use up those matching funds this morning. Let's see if we can use them all up before we even get to our lunch break. That would be fantastic. Call into 785-621-4110. And just as we're talking to Jacob Schroeder about what he did and the fundraising he has to do, that's what we have to do also. We are completely listener funded, which means you are what keeps us on the air. And we want to first and foremost thank all of our wonderful donors. Thank everybody who partners with us to keep these radio stations going. We do have 5 different stations, and we are blessed to be able to have them up and going. Putting out the message of Christ to a world that doesn't want to hear it, but we know they need it. So help us to continue doing that. 785-621-4110. Let's get right back to talking with Jacob Schroeder. So you mentioned a little bit earlier about this new young adult thing that we've got going on in the diocese, and some of the events. So what was the first event that you started with?
So the first event was in January. And the first event was actually, it was just a social with a dance.
Okay.
It was hosted at a venue in Salina. And yeah, we just brought in a bunch of games, set up a bunch of tables, and then cut off an area for people to dance. And it actually turned out really great. There was a little over 150 people that came to the first event.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I try to get 20 people at like my Thursday night Bible study or whatever it is. I'm like, well, we got 12. Yeah. So way to go, man. That's fantastic.
It went over really well. So
okay. What is the age group? We're talking young adults, and I realize I'm not there anymore. Mentally, yes. Physically, no. So what age range are we looking at when we talk about young adults?
So we went with the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops. Stated that the young adults range from 18 to 39.
Okay.
And
so dang. Yeah. I still didn't make
just missed it. But yeah, so we decided that's what we were going to roll with for this first year, seeing where it takes us. So
that is awesome. And you had 150 people at your first event.
Yeah.
Setting out cards, checkers, stuff like that.
Yep.
And wow. What an awesome thing to do. Get people away from all of the other distractions of life, bring them together. And that is fantastic, man. Wow. Yeah. So first event goes really well. How many events have you had?
So we've had 4 total so far.
Okay.
The next 2 events, there was about 60 at, and those were in Manhattan and Hayes.
Okay.
And so the Hayes one really surprised me that we got that many people because it was Holy Thursday.
Oh, wow.
We went around and did there's an old tradition of a 7 altars devotion.
Oh, I heard about this. I read what you guys did. That's awesome. If you have, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So you'll go around to 7 different altars and you pray at like the 7 different places Jesus was led before he was led off to crucifixion. And so we went around and visited 7 different churches, but that brought in about 60 people, which I was really, really surprised about. Being Holy Thursday and most people had to work the next day and stuff like that. So
yeah. Wow. Yeah. So what churches did you guys just right here around the Hayes area?
Yep.
Then?
So it was just around the Hayes area. We went to Munger, and then we went out to St. Boniface and Vincent.
Okay.
And then St. Anne's and Walker, St. Fidelis. And then we came back through and we went to St. Nick's, St. Joseph's, and then we ended at the campus center.
Oh my goodness, that is awesome. And what I think I read, it took about 3 hours, something like that. And
yeah, it takes about 2.5 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, 2.5.
Fantastic. Oh my goodness. So that was number 2, you said, or number 2 and number 3?
That was number 3.
Because you did it in 2 different spots.
Yeah. The second event, kind of backstepping here, was it was a pitch tournament in Manhattan.
No way.
So we just invited everybody to come play pitch, and that was really, really cool to see because even after like people were out of the tournament, they sat around and they played cards. But I just noticed that like today you go out and you look at like a dinner table or somebody eating fast food and they're always on their phone scrolling.
Yeah.
The whole event, like I hardly saw anybody looking at their phone, and they were just interacting with people kind of the way like things used to be, I suppose.
Yeah,
should be. And so it was a very, very cool thing for me to see.
Wow. That is really awesome, man. So we've been through 1, 2, and 3. What was the last event that you had?
So the last event was here in, not here, but it was in Colby.
Okay.
And this one took a big turn for me. There was only about 10 people who showed up.
Okay.
And only 3 of them were from Colby, I think.
Okay.
3 or 4. And so I kind of was a little baffled at the number change, but I got to talking with Father Brian, and he was kind of talking about, like, you know, if you're moving out to Western Kansas, it's because you've kind of settled down and you have a family now, and there's not that like crowd of young adults who are like don't have a family and don't have like big jobs and stuff like that. And so he mentioned that, you know, the numbers, or he mentioned that he only knows of a few young adults there who are like, would actually like come to these things.
Okay.
But that if you were to host like a family thing there in Colby, he thought that would maybe do a lot better than just young adults.
Okay. So he wanted to try and tell you you're not a complete failure.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Like, don't worry, bud. It's all right. Which is one of those things that you have to go through is, you know, those growing pains. It is good for us sometimes to see those and realize where our demographic is. And, but it's also good for, you know, all those people out there in that listening area to start hearing like, oh, hey, wait a minute, there are these things going on because, you know, maybe people haven't heard of it yet. And me being a Catholic nerd, I generally hear about these things. But yeah, that is fantastic that you guys are doing this. I'm going to break back in really quickly to remind people that they're listening to Divine Mercy Radio's Spring Care-a-thon. Come follow me. If you would like to make a pledge, call 785-621-4110. We will get to our second trivia question here in a little bit, but I'm going to hold off and just wanted to bring back that we have that total goal of $125,000. You can also donate at dvmercy.com. And if you go to our website, we have a thermometer. So if you're curious at all as we go through this and the last couple of days, you can look and see where we are at on our donations. So go to dvmercy.com and you can watch that thermometer go up. We are in talking with Jacob Schroeder, talking about leading young adults to Christ and this new role that he has within our diocese. So Jacob, you know, you already hinted a little bit that when you had your pitch night, you know, that there's not everybody just staring at their screens, which is a beautiful thing. I mean, as you said, you probably, well, you don't remember because you were you weren't born when I was little. But yeah, you're right. You know, that used to be, obviously there were always distractions, but when I was growing up, there was no screens anywhere outside of the house. So what other ways then have you seen people coming together and connecting through these experiences and maybe even afterward?
So at the first event in particular, like it was with a dance. And so there was a ton of people like, you know, asking somebody that they don't even know out on the dance floor, or people there showing each other like different dance moves and stuff like that.
Now, when we talk about, I'm going to break in here. When we talk about a dance, are we talking like good stuff, like swing dance, polkas, and things like that?
Exactly.
Good German wedding around here type of dance, or
like you see it.
We're not talking about the stuff that like it's time to go, kids.
No, it's good dancing,
good wholesome stuff. All right,
swing dancing and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, because I've noticed that swing dancing is actually really making a huge comeback. Especially with the younger crowd. I was like, oh, that is awesome. And some of them are really good at it.
Yeah. There's some really good dancers. And it's kind of a shame that the Rose used to be the place to go swing dance.
Oh, yeah.
Here, and it kind of stinks that it shut down. But they do a lot of dancing at the campus center as well.
Okay, so fantastic.
But yeah,
go ahead.
Back to the question, seeing that, and then just seeing people like interact through the games, or, you know, I've seen several people who who were single, who might not be single anymore.
We won't mention names.
Yeah. And yeah, it's been really cool to see everybody interact in that way, kind of going back to the face-to-face interactions, like the intimate relationships that were made for just people sitting there and talking face-to-face with each other without the distractions that are so common and so prevalent today.
Okay. Now, so I'm sure you've met a lot of new people yourself.
Yes.
Right. Made any new friendships or anything like that through this? Or?
Yeah. I've met a lot of people, and many of them I can't remember the names, but
yeah, I'm terrible with names.
There's been a couple. One guy that's really stood out to me. His name's Kevin, and he's actually from Manhattan, and he traveled all the way down to Hayes whenever we had our Holy Thursday event.
My.
Yeah, I thought he was crazy coming down to Hayes because he had to go back and work the next day. And but something I found out about Kevin actually at the Holy Thursday event was that he's not Catholic. He was not Catholic.
Seriously,
it was very cool. He was going through RCIA, and he became Catholic this Easter. So he
that
was
is
welcomed into the
awesome.
church. Yeah, and so that was really cool. Like, if he wouldn't have told me that, I would never have known that he wasn't a good standing Catholic. Like, he seems very devout, and
that is fantastic.
Very, very good young man. There's another guy by the name of Bobby who's out in Manhattan who does the young adult stuff there in Manhattan, and I got to talk to him a lot through the pitch tournament. Actually, we sat there and talked for about 30 to 45 minutes, and it was really good getting to know him because he's got a lot more experience than I do planning little events for young adults. And so I was able to bounce some ideas off of him, and he gave me his input and kind of what's worked for his group there in Manhattan and what hasn't worked. And so, yeah, getting to know him was really good. And he's a character. So yeah, those are a couple of the people. There's another, there's a girl that I've met as well that is trying to start a discernment house in Cawker City.
Wow.
And so it's been really cool to see so many people out there trying to serve the Lord in various different ways, like just all kinds of
that is
different things
fantastic.
that they're doing. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. We're going to hold that thought here. Want to break in and thank Randy Huser for pledging $200 with the matching funds. That became $400. You guys could actually call in and put in some kind of crazy number because these are easy numbers. I can do the math on that. If you want to make me try to do some kind of crazy math and say, hey, try that one, go ahead, go for it. 785-621-4110. Thank you so very much, Randy, for your $200 pledge. Just became $400 with those matching funds. That is absolutely wonderful. I'm going to get to our second trivia question now. So this is that question. I ask it, you answer it correctly. We put your name in the drawing for that gift certificate to Messenger Traditional Catholic Books and Gifts here in Hayes. Ready for it? Here we go. Which set of the Rosary Mysteries are usually prayed on Wednesdays? Is it A, joyful, B, luminous, C, sorrowful, or D, glorious? Which set of Rosary Mysteries are usually prayed on Wednesdays? Is it A, joyful, B, luminous, C, sorrowful, D, glorious? 785-621-4110 for your pledge, or to answer the question, or both. You can also, I'm in here talking with Jacob Schroeder. He's talking about his new role within the diocese. And if you guys are sitting there going, man, I'd like to ask this, guess what? You can. Call in to 785-621-5061, 785-621-5061. We'll get you in here to ask that question, or you can text us at the number that you pledge, 785-621-4110. We'll get that question on. And once again, we are live on Facebook, Rumble, YouTube. You can type into the chat there a question. They'll get it into us because this topic really gets me excited about about what's going on within our diocese with the youth. And if you guys have any questions, I know I've got a ton, but I don't want to always be the one asking the questions. Let's get some of those questions in here. 785-621-4110 to text, 785-621-5061 to call in, or type it into the live chat. All right. Back to Jacob Schroeder. We were talking about the some of the people that you have met. And, you know, this is something that I find very awesome, because it's also something that's been on my heart, is how do we get the young adults more involved? Because I've been seeing a lot what you're seeing. There's a fire there. And igniting that fire is going to be awesome. And I think part of that is, maybe you can speak to this a little bit, maybe going back to your role as president of Catholic Disciples. Our world is teaching everything but truth, and I think the youth are sick of it. So this is a good time for saints. So what have you seen in regards to that?
Yeah. Like you said, the world is wanting you to kind of take your own pleasures and fulfill your own desires and do all of that. And I feel like the world's just really teaching you that if it doesn't please you, then it's not for you.
Yeah.
Creating very, very selfish people. And what I've seen at the campus center is just like people are constantly coming in and realizing like this kind of life, this life of just fulfilling my selfish desires and pleasing myself is kind of miserable.
Yeah.
And so it's been really cool to see a lot of people come around who weren't living their best life, and then just all of a sudden become completely on fire with their faith. Like seeing them go to daily mass, seeing them pray a rosary all the time, seeing them, we have a couple of the guys there that I've met who just joined the church.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They like I know a little bit about their story, and like all their family was like not Catholic and like very much against the Catholic faith. And so it's just really cool to see them recognize like, hey, this is the truth. Like this is the truth, and this is what I want, and pursue that. I think there's so many people out there learning that the life of pleasure, like I said before, is kind of miserable, and they're wanting to, they're not finding like fulfillment in it, and realizing that like, especially the students at the campus center are finding fulfillment in being with the Lord.
Candlelight masses.
Yeah.
Who does that?
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Our hearts are restless until they rest in you.
Yeah.
Something like that,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is fantastic, man. I think I'm going to jump us back over now to these events that you've been doing. I'm interested in knowing what does it take to put these on? I've never done something at the scale you're doing, and I know how difficult it is even to do something small.
Yeah.
So like, can you give us a good understanding of, this is what you have to go through to get to one of these events?
Yeah. So kind of one of the first things that I do is, and I've asked it at my first couple of events, is I've planned events that like I knew I enjoyed, but then I like all my interests aren't going to be the same as somebody else's. And so I constantly send out surveys and stuff asking people like, hey, what do you want to see from this? What do you want to see? And so there was a good mix of like religious and social events that people wanted to see. And so going based off of that, I'll sit down and I'll brainstorm ideas, and I'll just start writing down, and then I'll kind of ask around to other people who I know and see like, hey, would you think this would be a good idea? Do you think this would be a good idea? And so that's just the original, like that's just the very start of it.
Okay.
It's just getting these things going. And then it goes about, okay, where would we do it? How would we do it? Where would this event be best at? Like, I'm not going to go down to Colby now and do a single person retreat whenever there's a lot of families there. I know that now. And so trying to decide where the best location is for this. And so it goes into that, and then you actually go into the planning. Like I'll reach out to venues, reach out to different priests that are around that diocese, and like ask them, hey, like, do you think this would be a good place for this? Do you have a location that I could use for this, and stuff like that? And so yeah, that's pretty much the whole detailed list of kind of planning these things out. Once you get them planned out, going and running them's a breeze.
Okay.
Like it's fairly simple. You just go set up, and then like I don't have to do much talking in front of everybody. I kind of tell them what the night's for, and then
you're here to play pitch,
just,
folks.
Yep, everybody just goes and does what they kind of want to do, and then yeah, usually that doesn't take super long. I've kind of learned not to, and I knew this doing the Catholic Disciple stuff, but this month's event for the month of May, I fell behind and didn't get a venue booked for a long time, and I was reaching out a couple weeks ago and all last week to different venues in Salina is where the event's going to be.
Okay.
And they were all booked for the day.
Oh, graduations.
And I was just like, oh my goodness. And so we actually luckily got the Sacred Heart High School. They have a big cafeteria and a gym. And so we're going to end up using that for this next event coming up here. So yeah, that's kind of a detailed look at it.
How long are you looking at when you start planning an event? You have one every month, or?
Yes. So there's one event per month. And that's kind of what we wanted, was just one event per month.
Yeah.
More of like the young adult ministry in like particular parishes is probably more like once a week or once every 2 weeks. But we were looking to just host one big event per month.
Yeah. Cause that's kind of a big deal to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, yeah, that's what we're doing, I suppose.
Okay. Wow. Fantastic. You are listening to Divine Mercy Radio's Spring Care-a-thon. Come follow me. We have that Care-a-thon goal of $125,000 that we want to reach by the end of tomorrow. Please help us to get there and keep us going. 785-621-4110. That's 785-621-4110 for your pledge. And that's the same number you call to answer the question. So let's get that question out there one more time. I don't see that we had a winner for our second question. So if you're listening, call in, give us a guess. If you get it right, we will put you in that drawing at 6 o'clock this afternoon for a gift certificate for $50 to Messenger Traditional Catholic Books and Gifts. You guys go down to that store. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Jerome and Angela Schmeidler are the owners. They have a wonderful family. They do great things in our community. And they are just absolutely amazing people. Go down there and support them. Even if you don't win, go into their store, look around. It's wonderful. But here's your question once again. Which set of rosary mysteries are usually prayed on Wednesdays? A, joyful, B, luminous, C, sorrowful, or D, glorious? Which set of rosary mysteries are usually prayed on Wednesdays? Joyful, luminous, sorrowful, or glorious? 785-621-4110. You are listening to Divine Mercy Radio's Spring Care-a-thon. Come follow me. And that's exactly what Jacob Schroeder is helping people to do in our diocese, is leading young adults to Christ. He's got a young adult ministry. He is the young adult ministry coordinator for our diocese. And he's doing these events once a month. Got an event coming up here, you said, in Salina, correct? Mm-hmm. What is that event again?
So the event's going to be a potluck and a trivia night.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I love trivia nights. We had some of those around here, and the former seminarians, there was a group of them. They always came and cleaned up. And so it kind of turned into, we stopped doing them, but it kind of turned into people going, oh, let's beat the seminarians. So that was kind of fun. So maybe you'll get some of that good camaraderie there.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for.
Fantastic. Okay. So how do people find these nights, sign up for them?
Yeah.
What do you think?
So usually I'll try and get it out in the bulletin in the surrounding area, wherever that event's going to be. And then through that social media, the Salina Diocese posts the event on their social media.
Okay.
Once we get the information for that, they'll send it out. And usually that's at the beginning of every month. And then I also have a little GroupMe, which is just a little messaging app that I'll send out reminders in or texts that like, hey, this event's coming up. And so, yeah, people can sign up through that. And then we also have like an RSVP link for on the Salina Diocese Facebook page that they post there. So we can kind of get to know numbers of who's coming and everything.
Yeah, that's kind of important.
Yeah.
So with all the events that you've done, which one do you think, I don't know, was your favorite, was the most well attended, anything like that? And what do you think made it stand out? I don't want to say against the rest, because it sounds like you've had some good ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what do you think was the best one, and what made it stand out?
Yeah. It's really hard to choose with just 4.
Yeah.
Numbers wise, the best event that we definitely had is the first one, with 150 people there, and it was a lot of fun. Like, I enjoy dancing. I enjoy playing cards, and so I got to do kind of all that night, and watch other people do that as well.
Yeah.
But probably my favorite event was in Manhattan, was the pitch tournament.
Okay.
I didn't partake in the pitch tournament. I as much as I love pitch, I was there to just kind of like set the rules and kind of make sure everybody was doing fine with it. But it was just really cool kind of seeing that old time interaction come back.
Yeah.
Like people not being on their phones, people just wanting to interact the way that it should be,
Yeah.
And so it was very cool for me to, like I said before, to just see that and enter into that as the event went on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That is so cool. We've talked about it already, but just to watch, like you said, people start making real relationships again.
Yeah.
Instead of looking down and being on the screen and having the fake ones and, oh, I got all these friends. Okay, let's get some real friends here, folks, and so, wow, that is great. So you're talking about this event you got coming up soon. Do you have thoughts for other events beyond that?
So, yep, we have thoughts. And one of my goals is, as soon as this school and everything kind of winds down, is to get all these events planned out for the rest of the year. And it's just going to be, it kind of looks like in the month of June, we're hoping to have a sand volleyball tournament.
Oh, wow.
There in Manhattan. And I know that there's a lot of people who enjoy the sports there, and there's some couple really good sand volleyball courts. So we're going to go and try to book that and have an event there. And then we're hoping to do Adoration Under the Stars in July, maybe out at Wilson Lake is what we're kind of thinking, hopefully.
Now, does Father Andy help take care of that, or do you find a priest in the local area, or what do you do there?
Yeah, so I would probably ask Father Andy, just because kind of know him pretty well. Probably ask Father Andy to do that. He's actually leading the trivia night as well.
Okay, so if you didn't know already, Father, hope you're listening, but you're going to get asked. Put it on your calendar.
Yep. So planning on doing that, and then in August they're having the Eucharistic conference here. Yeah. And so we're gonna do that, and then there's an event in the works there as well. Okay. And there's the rest of them are kind of planned out, but they're not as solid, I guess. Okay. So let me jump in here really quick. Congratulate Emily Reif, wonderful lady. She is our trivia winner. Emily Reif. Which set of Rosary Mysteries are usually prayed on Wednesdays? And that would be the Glorious Mysteries. So congratulations to Emily. We will get you entered into that drawing for that gift certificate to Messenger Traditional Catholic Books and Gifts. You are listening to Divine Mercy Radio's Spring Care-a-thon. Come follow me. To call in and give us your pledge, 785-621-4110. As we're talking with Jacob Schroeder, if you got a question for him or any of the other guests, call 785-621-5061 to get a question for our on-air guests. Or you can text us to the donation line, 785-621-4110. Or you can put a message in the stream of the live Facebook, Rumble, YouTube. We will get that question to those people who are in here. You are listening once again to Divine Mercy Radio Spring Care-a-thon. Come follow me. We have matching funds. And I think everybody knows how those go, but if not, just a kind of quick reminder, those matching funds are they're dollars that people gave us before and during the Care-a-thon to say, whatever people give, I want to double their amount. So they're giving you free money to make your amount that you pledge
automatically double. This morning we started with $9,120. We're now down to 8,000 some, but let's get those used up. Those people that give the money, they really want that used up. They believe in the mission that we have in these 5 radio stations. And that mission is getting the word of Christ out to others. And, you know, as we're sitting in here talking with Jacob Schroeder and talking about the events that they're having for young adults, this is such a blessing because now lots of people are listening to this. Lots of people are hearing this that maybe didn't even know these things are going on. And now you can go out, you can check it out. You can look at what's going on and maybe even help Jacob in his efforts to be running these events and putting these events on. So we've got those matching funds, a little bit over $8,000, close to $9,000. Call in, give us your donation, 785-621-4110. We want to get as close to our goal as we can by the end of today. We want to get up to $125,000 by the end of tomorrow. Started out with $47,260 this morning. Let's see what we can do to get there. 785-621-4110, and let's use up those matching funds. All right, Jacob, we've got about 8-9 minutes here. So we've been talking about events that you have that are going on. Is there a way that listeners can maybe start helping you right now? Are there things that maybe you need that people who are tuning in could say, yeah, I could do that?
Yeah. So one big thing is always donations. Right now we're entirely like donation funded, like you guys.
Like us, yeah.
So sending money to the chancery there in Salina, just in the memo, putting for the young adult ministry. That's always, we've had a couple people do that, and that helps us out a lot. Like It helps pay for the venue. It helps pay for all the equipment that I'm buying. Other than that, food at events is a big thing. Last event we had somebody donate beef for in Colby, awesome. And so I was very grateful for that.
Really quickly on that thought. So you guys serve a meal at every one of them, or is it just specific ones?
Not every one of them. Yeah,
okay.
It's just specific ones. But if somebody recognizes or somebody sees that like, hey, we got a potluck coming up, like that one, not so much because I'm hoping like everybody
brings their
else
own.
will bring their own food.
Hence potluck.
But like if we have meal will be provided. Usually we're happy to take donations on that.
Absolutely.
And so like donating beef or donating just something generic that people would use for bigger meals and stuff like that.
Okay.
Helps out a lot. I don't know of much equipment that we need right now. There really hasn't been a whole lot of need for anything other than stuff that I've kind of already acquired.
Okay.
So yeah, that would be some great ways of helping is donations of money, of food, and then just trying to spread the word. Like ask your friends if you know some young adults who, especially if they've fallen away from the faith or are trying to rekindle their flame for the faith. Like send them to these events. Like they'll find people that they enjoy being with.
Okay, and as I've said, I'm not of the younger age anymore. My generation was kind of the Facebook generation, although I just kind of use it to put out notices and stuff. Yeah. I don't really get on it too much, but people do still check that. But you're not really the Facebook generation. But yet you guys still use it. So that's a good thing. That gets it out there. But where are young people going to find the information? Where can they really go? And
so check your bulletins. If there's a event in your area, it'll be in the bulletin for that month. Facebook, like I said,
we do use it though.
On Facebook, and then Instagram are kind of the main places that I know of. I'm not really in charge of the social media side of things, so that's where I know that they're being advertised.
Okay, and if somebody owns a venue, I suppose getting a hold of you and saying, hey, we would like to donate the venue for the night. How would they get a hold of you to do that?
So you could just call me on my cell phone, or you could reach out to the Salina Diocese if you get a hold of them, or if you go to the website for the Salina Diocese Chancery website, I have a listing under there, and you can find my phone number in that listing. It's just under Young Adult Ministry, and you'll find my name and a little bit of information about me and how to contact me.
Okay, fantastic. So, yeah. And any other blessings that you've seen come through this as you've been doing this, maybe even personally, has there been something that's really stuck out that was, I didn't maybe know that was going to happen, but this has been a really eye-opener, a real blessing that has come from these events?
Yeah. Just the numbers, like just seeing how many people are actually out there, like kind of being in Hayes, and you see it on college campuses and stuff. Like, yeah, there's a ton of people on fire for the faith, but then they move out and they spread around the world. But just seeing that, like, there's that young adult crowd that's out there that is on fire for the faith, and it enkindles your own fire as well. It's just like seeing that really gets me excited, and I'm like you've said, it gets you excited too.
Yeah, so, absolutely. Yeah. People want some substance. They're tired of the spoon feeding, I think.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, Jacob, thank you so very much for your time. Yes. We really appreciate it.
Happy to be here.
We'll be praying for your ministry. Pray for ours.
Thanks. I will.
Awesome. Have a wonderful day, sir.
You too.
Thanks. You are listening to Divine Mercy Radio's Spring Care-a-thon. Come follow me. I want to thank Carol Bain, who pledged $250. So through our matching funds, that immediately